Hi, I'm Sahaj of sahajdernan.com. We talked last time about the air constitution and how when it's out of balance in the body or the mind, it can contribute to anxiety. Today we'll talk a bit more in depth about all of the body types and how they appear when they're both in and out of balance. One thing to note here is that we all typically go in and out of balance all the time. While it's true that some people have a little bit more of a buffer in between those fluctuations, we're still all at the mercy of the elements. But the really nice thing to note is that once you know a little bit about the elements and what your main constitution is, you'll know how to take care of it. And so you'll go out of balance less and less. There are 5 main elements in the body, and they're found both in the body and in nature. And they are earth, air, fire, water, and ether. Let's look at them individually first. But please note too that when I talk about the basics of each of the elements as they appear, it's by no means an exhaustive list. It's just a snippet of how each element might typically go in and out of balance. Although all elements are constantly interacting with and within our bodies, we tend to carry more of certain elements within us depending on our unique constitution. This means that how they appear in us will be different than how they appear in you or others with the same elements. So for example, I might have a lot of fire within me, and if I know how to balance it well, then I might appear as vibrant, happy, charismatic. Whereas someone else who also has a lot of fire but doesn't manage it well, meaning maybe they sit out in the sun a lot, they eat tons of fried foods, maybe they eat lots of red meat, or they drink large amounts of alcohol, or they eat lots of fried foods. This could make them irritated and frustrated. And I know this might sound confusing, but bear with me and let's go through it here. So the first element we'll look at is the earth element. Earth is typically a heavier element. So qualities of the earth element as they typically appear in the body are as follows. They're heavy, dry, cold, dense, inflexible, grounded, stable, consistent. They don't change quickly. They generally like a routine, and they tend to be a little bit on the immovable side, especially when they're stuck or out of balance. The second element we'll look at is air. And air is so powerful, it can devastate the earth through a hurricane. Qualities of the air element in the body typically are as follows. Air is light, dry, mobile, quick, nervous, playful, excited, flexible, agitated, and spontaneous. Now we'll look at the water element. Water has an amazing quality of creating flexibility and fluidity wherever it exists. Qualities of the water element in the body are typically as follows. They're movable, malleable, emotional, wet, heavy, flexible, and nurturing. Next, let's look at the ether element. Ether is important because it allows the space for which all things to exist within. Qualities of the ether element typically in the body are as follows. Light, dry, wispy, penetrable, static, what permeates the space between the cells and the organs. Kind of important, right? Lastly, let's look at the fire element. Fire is the transformer of food to nutrients, of ideas to action, and so on. Qualities of the fire element in the body are typically as follows. Hot, light, inflamed, driven, ambitious, angry, frustrated, having a sense of joy, and charismatic. Note that most people these days are a dual body type, meaning they typically have more than one type within them. Most people, though, aren't all 3 equally. That's actually a rare body type. Note also that you could be one body type and have a large amount of another type within your mind, making it appear that you're actually a different type. For example, you could be a heavy-set, earthy body type with too much air in your mind. This might make you feel anxious, even though your main body type would not normally tend towards anxiety. This is because many people have too much air in their mind from overstimulation, too much mental activity, or too much movement. In this case, we would treat the mind and body differently to bring the whole person back into balance. Now let's look at the 3 main body types. They are air or vata, fire or pitta, and earth or kapha. Note that each body type is made predominantly of 2 elements, and given that most people are a dual constitution, they're likely to have a predominance of 4 elements within the body. Of course, we all have all 5 elements within us, each of us. It's just the actual amount of each element that determines our constitution. Interestingly, our lifetime constitution is what our parents were combined predominantly at the time that we were conceived. Okay, let's dive a little deeper into each of the body types now. Here they are. So let's start with the air type. The air is also known as vata, made mostly of air and ether. Generally, the air type has a small body. It's a small body type and quite small boned. I have a fair bit of air. In balance, they're playful, quick-witted, light, clear-minded, quick to act, and quite creative. Out of balance, however, they could be anxious, fearful, dry. They might have a tendency towards nervous system disorders. They might appear weak or restless or have a very thin frame and actually have trouble gaining weight. How to balance the air type? Stay warm and well hydrated. Get a massage, use warm oils on the spine and the body, and eat moist, heavy foods and try to be in warmer weather more often. Sounds pretty good, huh? Well, maybe not to the fire type. So the fire type is also known as pitta, P-I-T-T-A. They're made of fire and water, and generally they're a medium body size and can typically gain or lose weight depending on what they put their mind to. In balance, they could appear joyful, radiant, focused, sharp-minded. They tend to have good digestion, and they tend to be deep sleepers. Out of balance, though, they appear critical, angry, impatient, frustrated, too hot, control freaks, or overly ambitious. How to balance the fire type? Keep calm and cool. Don't push things if they're not working. Use coconut oil on the skin and in the cooking. Drink plenty of water. Stay out of direct sun, and don't eat fried foods. The earth type, also known as kapha, K-A-P-H-A, made predominantly of earth and water. Generally, kapha types have larger body build, so they're larger boned, they have bigger eyes and bigger lips, and so on. In balance, they appear grounded, stable, consistent, steady, strong. They tend to have a kind disposition, and they typically have really good endurance. Out of balance, they appear stuck, heavy. They might have a slow metabolism. They could be stubborn. They could gain weight really easily, and they could be sluggish. How to balance the earth type? Get lots of cardio exercise, if it's okay by your doc. Stay warm, get in the sun, eat light foods, vary your routine, drink warm or hot water, do some occasional fasting with a trained professional, and wear bright colors. So there you have it in a nutshell. This overview can give you some ideas of where you stand. If you're like me, I'm the fire and air type, then you would have to keep your fire in check in the summer or the warmer season by following the how to balance fire, and keep your air in check in the winter time or the cooler season by following the how to keep the air in check. This can be a balancing act sometimes, pun intended, but the more you get to know yourself and your types, the easier it is to bring yourself back on track. That's all for now. Until next time, if you have any comments, please share them below, and please like my video if you like it and share it if you like it too. Thanks so much. Bye for now.